What makes LEGO decide when it's finally time to cash in on nostalgia? Why do some themes get lavish remakes while some get quietly ignored? What does LEGO really do when Anniversary rolls around? Is it just a celebration, or is it really a carefully planned moment to cash in on decades of brand loyalty? How did Castle, Pirates, and Space all get multi-$100 nostalgic playsets while Bionicle is relegated to references and stickers? Recently I was watching the latest Defunct Land video all about ongoings with the Disney company. In this case they were talking about sort of living animatronics that you can interact with and everything, and a important point which comes to brand decision making was brought up.
After Disney's acquisition of Pixar in 2006, Bob Iger and Steve Jobs developed a friendship. Jobs acted as a sort of advisor to Iger during Iger's early years as Disney's CEO, and one of the lessons that Jobs imparted was the business philosophy that companies should view their brands as bank accounts, something that you can deposit into or withdraw from.
In the world of LEGO, brand deposits come in the form of iterating on themes, such as continuing to create new characters and new sublines and plot lines for like Ninjago, or also another sort of brand deposit would be creating a whole new brand internally, like with LEGO Dreams, where they don't know exactly who that's going to appeal to. Maybe they do have some knowledge of which demographics this will appeal to, but there's not specific individuals who they know that they have built up through past deposits a good sort of banter with, a good standing with, and now they can do something which guarantees the interaction from that individual, usually a purchase from that individual. Whereas brand withdrawals for LEGO would be in the form of nostalgic sets which appeal to people who have been with the brand for a really long time. They generally play the long game with this sort of thing, where people who have been collecting since the 80s now still have products marketed towards them, but they're now significantly more expensive than they would have been back when they were kids. LEGO Castle fans make up a dedicated subsect of the consumer base. These are people who were collecting LEGO before it was cool. In the world of 80s action figures and other sort of eye-catching things, these were people who had a classy, long-standing interest with LEGO medieval themes. The Lion Knight's Castle from 2022 acted as a great large-scale, large price point lure for nostalgic fans. This is a brand withdrawal. This is a way for the LEGO Group to benefit from a long-standing discipline and restraint from continuously producing castle sets which throw back to this sort of thing. It seems that if they wait a longer amount of time, they can ask $399.99 MSRP. And now this set was out for a couple of years, and it just recently retired, and there was a big piece of drama where it was going to go on sale, and it sold out the second that it went on sale, because this sort of set has an amazingly large consumer base. And these are people who, if they were 8 years old in 1984, when the original sort of Lion Knights themes were coming out, then they would be 46 years old at the time of this set's release. And well-known fact, people tend to get more rich as they get older. They have more money at their disposal, they've made more investments, they've had more returns on their investments, and over time they're able to treat themselves a little bit more. Another example of a semi-recent LEGO brand withdrawal for a classic theme is the Eldorado Fortress, which came out in 2023. Now this set is also at a high price point, not as high of a price point. It's $214.99, and so this appeals to people who've been collecting LEGO Pirates their whole lives. And LEGO Pirates goes all the way back to the 1980s. This set in particular sort of combines elements of some and is mainly a tribute to the 1989 Pirates Eldorado Fortress. This set retired in late 2024 and spent about 16 months on shelves. Now this set came out 38 years after LEGO Pirates first became a thing. Brand withdrawals for classic space themes haven't been quite as expensive as the ones aimed at Castle fans. Now, something going on here is maybe LEGO knows that Castle fans are willing to spend more. Maybe they know there's less classic space fans. That's something that, as we'll get into, we don't really have the data on that as consumers, or at least Lego definitely has a lot more data than we do. This is the Blacktron Renegade, which came out in 2025, and so this set is a throwback to the original Blacktron Renegade, and this set's only $99.99. But if we go and we look at the original Blacktron Renegade, that set came out all the way back in 1987. Now, back in 2014 for the Lego movie, there was Benny's spaceship. So this set retailed for $99.99, a pretty reasonable price point. Sometimes when they do these Lego movie sets, even like Lego Ninjago and Lego Batman, I feel like they've got very competitive price points because these sets also act as a bit of a selling point for the movie itself, sort of like a gateway for people who may be interested in the set. Then they'll definitely see the movie, or people who are interested in the movie are more likely to buy the set, even if they're just sort of passive movie watchers. So this set served as a bit of a brand withdrawal. Any sort of the nostalgic elements baked into the Lego movie were a bit of a brand withdrawal, where it's like, hey, remember this, remember that? This set sold really well, even though it wasn't supposed to be like a faithful recreation of an 80s set, similar to the Blacktron Renegade or the set we'll look at next. This one sold like hotcakes, and it was only a couple more years until they were able to kind of revisit this classic space angle. If somebody was 8 in 1979 when the original classic space stuff was coming out, then they would be 54 years old now. This set also spent 16 months on shelves. A more on-the-nose brand withdrawal for the classic space theme came with the Galaxy Explorer, which this set came out in 2022, and this set, even with the box, everything was totally geared to appeal to these nostalgic collectors. This was as part of like a 90 years of play, celebrating 90 years of the Lego company, making toys, being a part of households. Although I will say, most of that time was not with minifigures. Anniversary celebrations basically serve as a justified moment in time for an opportune moment to take a withdrawal from a brand. Anniversaries function as strategic anchors. They aren't just celebrations, they're tools which guide product timing and messaging. You'll often be able to tell that a company is ramping up for an anniversary, like a toy company is what I'm thinking of, because like with the Star Wars Return of the Jedi anniversary, they're releasing all of these Return of the Jedi products prior to that anniversary, so that when that anniversary comes around, they've already put all of this tooling and budget into creating these products, which then can be relaunched or repackaged right on the dot for when that event is going down. In 2026, LEGO celebrates the 15th anniversary of Ninjago. I know that's probably shocking for some people because Ninjago feels like a newer Lego theme, especially in comparison to a few. And so they're going to be doing these sets which are kind of plussed up, and they'll be including minifigures, exclusive minifigures. Like in the case of this set, they've got Young Woo and Garmadon. This set's going to be going for $299.99, which is definitely in that sort of range where you're not appealing to the average child consumer. You're appealing to somebody who has a large place in their heart for Lego Ninjago. Now, technically, 2026 could also be looked at as the anniversary of another beloved Lego theme that has to do with different elemental multicolor characters, and that would be Bionicle. 2026 marks the 25th anniversary of Lego Bionicle. Bionicle impacted an entire generation of children who like to play with basically action figures in a way similar to 80s powerhouse brands like He-Man. Now, He-Man launched in 1982. Mattel, who created He-Man, brought back a commemorative series of reissued He-Man action figures in 1999. That's only 17 years between the product's inception and the point in time where it is well established that this is a brand worth withdrawing from, a brand which has so much mainstay that you won't be hurting it by just re-releasing it and creating a whole bunch of products which lean 100% on the established care and attention and commitment to that brand. A good percentage of the original He-Man toy line was reissued back on shelves. That would be like somebody who was 8 years old when they first started collecting Masters of the Universe when it first came out. Now they'd only be 25 years old when Mattel goes, you know what, you're right, this is a brand that'll stand the test of time. Everybody deserves a chance to get a collector's version of this product. That's like us getting a reissued version of like the 2001 to 2003 Bionicle sets in their canisters in 2018. And for those not well versed in Bionicle, that did not happen. LEGO consistently neglects the opportunity to make brand withdrawals when it comes to the Bionicle brand. They did this set as a gift with purchase in 2023, and so that means like you had to spend a specific amount of money and then you would get this set. So in a way that is a brand withdrawal where they're basically saying, you know what, people love this so much they're going to spend $150 on something they weren't even sure they wanted just so that they can lock down this exclusive item. But this is a small set. It actually comes with more than what you're seeing on the front there. It comes with not just Tahu, but Takua, who's like a 2003 character. And this was done under the Icons theme, similar to the other sets that we've looked at here. If somebody was 8 in 2001 when Bionicle first hit the market, and I've been using 8 years old because I feel like that's a good barometer. It's not too old, not too young to be getting into one of these LEGO themes. If somebody was 8 in 2001, they'd be 30 in 2023. Now, if I look up Bionicle on Brickset, a lot of what we get, if I'm sorting by year release descending, which is one of my favorite ways to sort, I feel like it's one of the most useful filters here. You see a lot of these sets here and you're like, that's not Bionicle. Well, it contains a reference to Bionicle. This set has a reference to Exoforce, maybe a bit of a minor brand withdrawal because now people who grew up with Exoforce and love Exoforce, they're going to buy this set, which normally wouldn't have appealed to them. Now, this Heart Lake City shopping mall, and it says this is Bionicle related. And how's that? I still don't quite see it, but somewhere in this set, there's got to be just like a little sticker, a little reference to Bionicle. I am all the way zoomed in and I am not seeing it. I like her hair though. I can take us to the Bricklink part list and we can look at this sticker sheet here. And maybe there's something Bionicle related here. Gosh, it's oh, there it is. Okay, we've got a little game here, a little monitor with Liwa. Apparently the Galaxy Explorer also has some sort of Bionicle reference. I have this set and I don't even remember what sort of tribute it has going on. Oh wait, there it is. I'm remembering now. It's that the astronauts somehow encountered like a canister from the 01 sets, and there's a little astronaut looking in a canister where a Toa was once held. So yeah, that's kind of a classy little reference. Here, the Escape from the Lost Tomb, Indiana Jones. It's got a Gali mask on one of the stickers of the hieroglyphs on the wall. LEGO is a privately held company. We don't have access to a lot of the information that they're working with behind the scenes. There are parts of their decision-making process that happen completely behind closed doors, and we're not privy to the answers to many of the questions that we may have, like how profitable is any individual theme? How much money does Ninjago bring in per year? And was the Bionicle reboot really a failure? Did they lose money on that sort of venture? Is Dreams a newer theme from them, which I believe is being retired next year? Has that been hitting the benchmarks that they were expecting? Is it letting them down? Is it exceeding expectations? If it was exceeding expectations, would they continue to make deposits into this brand? Private companies just don't publish the data and all of the information on these product lines. What sort of internal sales trigger a need to reboot something? Like, what pointed out to LEGO the fact that they could be making these expensive castle and pirate sub-themes? How many units does the Lion Knight's castle, for example, have to sell for them to be like, oh, you know what, we got to do another one of these in quick succession? Maybe they don't even have a benchmark like that, and they know, like, we're going to space out our brand withdrawals, we're going to bide our time. What sort of sales performances would trigger LEGO to be like, oh, you know what, Bionicle is worth bringing back. I think now's the right time. These are all private performance targets. How does LEGO rank its themes internally? Like, are castle fans really more important than space fans? Do they think that castle fans are more affluent? Do they think that space fans are more stingy? Do the people who grew up with Bionicles not return to the brand as adults in the same way that people who grew up with pirates remain into pirates? Which themes make the most money off of customers over the course of an entire lifetime? And obviously we don't have the long-term metrics like that for Bionicle or Ninjago, but there are internal sales data when it comes to, a single individual who's bought every pirate set or multiple of each pirate set. They're worth this much to the company. Does LEGO have sort of a long-term withdrawal strategy? Do they try to space themselves? They're trying to savor that last bite of brand withdrawal so that they know, okay, it doesn't matter any other factors. We are not making another giant castle set for another 5 years, another 8 years. Do anniversaries even make a difference when it comes to these sales? Obviously, anniversaries help sort of excuse making these nostalgic sets. It's sort of a justification for that. But do these celebrations actually help sales metrics? Are there really people out there who are like, 90 years of LEGO, oh, take my money? Do product designers have a hard time meeting the costs internally of what it takes to make a construction set like Bionicles? Like, they often have unique parts to them. Are there factors like that which kind of dissuade LEGO from being like, you know what, let's just try it again? Because with these castle sets, even the space ones, they aren't making as many new molds, where if they were to bring back Bionicle, if they were to reissue stuff like Mattel did for He-Man in 99, they'd have to recreate dozens, like 100 parts that are retired, and they'd have to bring them back if they were to do it that way. And even if they were to approach Bionicle in a different way, it may also be the sort of thing where there has to be a larger parts budget, which they just don't know that the sets are gonna be a good return on that investment. How do they measure our sentiment as AFOLs? There's a lot of questions which we will not have the answers to, and it's just important for us to kind of, like what I've done with this, I've been noticing patterns, connecting the dots, and basically it's like, okay, well, what is going on here? What can we see as a consumer? What can we predict? Am I going to have to be 45 years old before I get a upscale Bionicle throwback set? I mean, if there's a pattern in what we're looking at with these castle and space sets, then I guess maybe I just have to play the long game. I gotta find some sort of cryogenic hypersleep pod so that y'all can wake me up and when I'm 45, and then I'll have all the Bionicle I could ever want. It's been a long time since my last video on this channel. In the time since the last video, I became a manager at a Bricks and Minifigs location, and I've really been enjoying that, and it's surprisingly not burned me out on LEGO. If anything, it's made me more knowledgeable and like more well-read, like across the board. I've learned a lot about Ninjago, which was something that I kind of clocked out of because I was more a Bionicle generation guy than a Ninjago generation guy. I know a lot of people that watch this channel really like LEGO Star Wars, and I've been doing these weekly podcasts, live streams with Will Bricks Productions, as well as Mike and Ike, and those are on Will's channel for the time being, and it's called Minifig Mindset. So if you enjoy what I bring to the space, definitely check out his channel and watch some of those live streams back, maybe skip around some of those and see if you'd be interested in watching live. Thanks for watching this video. Subscribe to the Stud Economy YouTube channel, follow me on Instagram, reach out in the comment section or on Instagram if you have anything you want to talk to me about regarding LEGO, maybe even Bionicle a little bit. Thanks for watching.